All right, so here we go. Now, did anybody want me to go over anything through 20? Yes. Let's take a look at number 12. All right. Now, again, this was a nice problem to do because of the subtraction. All right. Now, again, I tried to explain yesterday that when you have subtraction, sometimes it's easier to just go ahead, change it to addition, and then distribute the negative. So that becomes a negative, and that becomes a positive. All right? No, just to the numerator. All right, if you distribute a negative over a negative, you're not changing anything. All right, you're distributing a negative through the numerator. All right? And now it's just a matter of combining like terms. So you end up with 2x minus 10 over, now let's factor the bottom into x minus 5, x minus 3, because we noticed this can factor into 2 times x minus 5. So does that make sense? Then the x minus 5s can cancel, and you're left with 2 over x minus 3. You have any problems? All right, does anybody want to see anything else? Go ahead, Mary. All right, let's get 18 for a quick second. All right, now for 18, what would the common denominator be? Yeah, it'd just be xy, right? Bless you. So I'm doing xy, and I'm doing xy. Now what's missing in the first fraction? So you're going to multiply by y over y. So that just becomes 3y. What's missing in the second fraction? So you're just multiplying by, and you get 3x. And then that leaves you with and if we wanted to, we could factor the 3 from the top. Is that going to help anything? It doesn't help anything. But these are grouped together by addition. Right? If it was just 3x times 3y, you could cross out the y's. Right? But the x and the y are grouped together by addition. Anything else before we get started? All right, let's finish up. All right. Now, again, what I want to say now is that a and a minus 2 are individual quantities. The first a has nothing to do with the second a. Do we agree with that? All right, so what would the common denominator be? Okay, now those of you guys who said a minus 2, that's a common mistake. What you're doing is you're equating this a and this a. They're completely different. All right, so the common denominator is actually a times a minus 2. All right, so what do I have to multiply the first fraction by? Yes, you're going to multiply the first fraction by a minus 2 and a minus 2. I'm going to multiply the second fraction by what? A. That's really simple. So now the first fraction becomes 2a minus 2. All right. Now if you wanted to, you could just say I'm distributing the 2, so it'd be 2a minus 4. I just wrote it all out just so you can see it. All right. And then, uh-oh, I did make a mistake here. It's not supposed to be a plus. It's supposed to be a what? Minus. All right. But you should change it to a plus. And then this would be negative 1 times what? A. And if you want to, of course, you could put negative a there, but I'm just doing it as a point. of emphasis. All right. Now you can distribute in the numerator, and you get 2a minus 4 minus a over a times a minus 2. And of course, now that will simplify to what? That equals, good job, a minus 4 over a times a minus 2. What's 2a minus 1a? Can I reduce anything? No. A minus 4 can only be reduced with a minus 4. All right. Any questions? Go. Okay, so I want you to read this right here. What does that say? So what's 2a and negative a? No, it's just 2 minus 1.
But how is that like? How is it like negative 4?
Well, because that's negative 4 comes from this.
Oh, okay.
All right. Good job, though. All right. And the 1 is from the 2a minus 1a, right?
So you couldn't, is it because of addition you get also the a minus 2 before you did 2a minus 4a?
You mean you want to cross this out?
Yeah.
Well, then you would be right back where you started. And so the whole objective is to make it one fraction. You know what I mean? That's a common question also. All right? You don't simplify until after you add. Right? It'd be like saying, 1/2 plus 1/3, and then making them sixes, and then say, well, I can reduce it back down to 1/2 and 1/3. Then you can't add them. Okay? All right, so hopefully now you're with me. All right, again, I just don't think it's that hard. All right? So the common denominator, everybody should be able to tell me the common denominator now for number 23 is an x plus 1 and x plus 2. All right, so come on, take your time. X plus 1, x plus 2. Now I want to try to show you something. All right, so please look up. So save yourself some time. Right, if you understand what I'm doing. All right, look up so I can show you. All right, the common denominator is x plus 1 and x plus 2, right? So don't write it twice anymore. Don't write it twice, just write it once. All right, and let me show you how you handle that. So you just make one long fraction bar. What do I have to multiply the first fraction by? X plus 2. So now you have to watch me do that. 2 parentheses x plus 2. And soon enough, for those of you guys who are more advanced, you would just write down what? 2x plus 4. All right? Now, what am I multiplying the second fraction by?
X plus 1.
So it would just be plus 3x plus 1. Come on, that's not that difficult. Drew, you with me on that?
Yeah.
It's really not. It's really not. Connor, are you with me?
How do you know what to do?
Well, these are the two denominators. So in order to get a common denominator, you have to just multiply those two things together. Now, when you're multiplying the numerator, you end up with 2x plus 4 plus 3x plus 3 all over x plus 1 times x plus 2. Yep. So all we have 5x plus 7 over x plus 1 times x plus 2. Everybody agree? Not hard. All right. Now 4 is said to be 4 over what?
1.
4 over 1. All right. Yeah, so what's the common denominator?
3x plus 2.
It's just 3x plus 2. So what do I multiply the first fraction by?
3x.
So 4 times 3x plus 2 minus what? Minus 3. Well, you can. If you put plus, it's going to be plus negative 3. You with me or not?
Why don't you subtract the 4?
Well, we're getting to the next step right now. Now you have to distribute the 4, right? Right? So, see if you agree now. 12x plus 8 minus 3 over 3x plus 2. 12x plus 5 over 3x plus 2. Can I reduce the 3 and the 12? No. Bounded by addition and subtraction. All right. All right, a little bit harder now. 27. What's the common denominator?
Minus 7.
All right, so here we go. So I have to multiply the first fraction by and the second fraction by. Every watch one.
Two W squared minus 4W plus W squared minus 7W.
Two W squared plus W squared is 3W squared, right? Minus 7W. I'm sorry, minus 11W. Over. Can you factor out a W in the top?
Oh, yeah, you
You could, but is that going to help?
no.
Because you end up with 3W minus 11. Do I agree with that? All right. I don't think it's too bad. All right.
Wait, can't you not cross it off with subtraction for the top?
No. You mean you want to simplify over here?
No, I mean, did you say at the end?
There's nothing to simplify, nothing to cross out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the final answer. Like I said, if you wanted to pull out a W, you could. All right. 29. Common denominator. Okay. So, what do I multiply the first fraction by? Now, negative 2x times what? You're right. 3x minus 2. That's not bad. All right. And now, distribute. Did everybody see that? Now be careful. I think it's a positive 4x though. I think you didn't distribute the negative properly. Like I said, that's the number one mistake is people don't distribute the negative properly. Did I get on that? All right. So now when you go ahead and finish that, it's going to be what? It's going to be what? Any issues? Very happy with that? All right. So now put a star by number 31. I'm pretty close. All right, so let's look at 31. And again, I really wish you'd put a star by it because most people make this way too hard. Look right here. I want to put the answer up, and then I want to see if you can see what I'm doing. I would want you to just look at that and say that's obviously just 4 over n minus 7. All right. Do you remember what we said about m minus? Right. Do you remember what we said about m minus 7 and 7 minus m? They're almost the same. They're off by a factor of -1. Is anybody with me on that? So what I'm essentially doing is let me just write it all out, and then you won't have to do this anymore. If you're paying attention, you don't have to go through all these steps. You just have to listen to me. All right? So he is absolutely correct. All right? Essentially what we're doing is we're just multiplying by -1 over -1. That's all we're doing. And if I do that, that becomes -2, and the denominator now becomes -7 plus m, correct? Which is the same as m minus 7. That's the same. So 6. Everybody see that now? All right. So again, your denominators, the only time that works is when they're the same but written opposites of each other. All right? You may have any questions with that? I don't think that's that hard. All right, but it's tricky. Some kids accidentally make it m minus 7 and 7 minus n is the common denominator.
So how can you only expect the right side though? Like,
Well, because I'm trying to get the right side to be m minus 7, so it would be the same.
Oh, okay.
You with me? If I change both of them, then I'm back to where I was, the problem.
But like, actually,
You with me? All right. Okay. So, wow. You should be able to look at that and just say that is what?
Good minus or no, it's
It's 2x plus 1.
Those you guys are thinking. Good job. It equals 1. It equals 1.
I didn't finish.
So look, listen right here now. Shh, no, stop. All right. The 3 minus 2x and the 3, the second fraction, I need to rearrange. So I want to write it as 2x minus 3. If I write it, I have to put a negative up in the top. That's all there is. You hear me? And so now that you do that, you can now see that I have 2x minus 3 over 2x minus 3, which is the same as 1. All right? And again, I thought James did a good job when he said you're really just multiplying by -1 over -1. That's essentially what you're doing. All right? And that forces the denominator to look like the numerator.
If there was a negative side instead of like an addition side, would you have to still
Make it plus.
Okay.
You with me?
Yeah.
So if it was minus, you change it to plus. All right? But it's plus, so we change it to what? Minus. Good question. All right, here we go. Now, last one. All right, of course, m squared minus 3m plus 2 probably factors, and what's probably one of the factors? Yep. So m minus 2 times what? Times m minus 1. Does everybody see that? Now, the only thing I really need to do is multiply the second fraction by what? M minus 1. All right, so let's talk about it real quick. The common denominator is m minus 2 and m minus 1. And then I'm going to multiply the first fraction just by what? 1. So nothing changes. Did I agree? It's going to be 4m minus 1 times m minus 1. All right, now don't do too many steps in your head because you'll make careless mistakes. All right, that's why I'm writing everything out. What? I didn't get rid of anything.
Why you have n minus 2 and this is n minus 1 on the bottom?
Okay, so that's a good question. So these are common, so that goes here.
Oh,
You with me now? I can give you another. No. That's not what we did on anything. So let's go back to, let me try to find one that's like that. Even something like 15. A and a squared. The common denominator was a squared. You with me? We didn't have to do a cubed. You with me? All right. So now we just distribute the negative, correct? So that becomes 4m minus m plus 1 over m minus 2 and m minus 1, right? And so 4m minus 1m is what?
3m.
So now I have 3m plus 1 over m. And of course, nothing else can cancel. Would I agree? All right. Again, that was just a continuation of yesterday. All right. So now you go back and do the evens, and then I'll have those posted again tonight. All right. Please double check your work. All right. Please double check your work. I'm also going to try to put in the review tonight. All right. Or as soon as I can. So those of you guys who want to get started on it can do that. All right. Because I don't think this will take you much time.
Number 35, how come you, before you distribute, how come you can't cancel out the n minus 1?
Oh, because that's what we were talking about. If I cancel out, I'm right back to where I started, and then I can't add them.
Oh.
True? Right? Yes, you have to simplify first. All right. So good job for today, guys. You got 20 minutes or whatever. All right. Try to finish that up, and then I'm going to try to post the review. All right, for tomorrow to get started on. All right. So finish that up. No.